Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Glusenkamp Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Secretary, for being here. So I represent Southwest Washington. We're a big shellfish, timber, and we have a lot of small and very small farms. Average size is about 60 acres. Filberts, blueberries, some dairy still. And it is in many ways like we have persisted in these smaller farms not being consolidated. People really working to try to get food to their communities. And I guess one of the things that I've heard from some of my shellfish growers, they've suffered terribly under a regulatory burden, doing anything in water, right? It's been difficult for them. But during these reductions in force, during the Doge, what they told me was that, look, they fired the guy that does our water quality testing, but they still have somebody tweeting. They still have a comms director. Like, could you talk to me about how you're, who is this Bennett? Like, where are we going?
Right. No, I would be happy to. And in fact, I'm so excited to use my chart. I wasn't sure I was going to get to use that, but I think it's important, my handy dandy chart here. When we left, before the last administration came in, USDA was staffed at about 97,000 employees. In the last 4 years, when we came back, we were closer to 113,000 employees. So the staffing up in the last administration, using mostly IRA and IIJA funding, the infrastructure and the Inflation Reduction Act money that was supposed to be spent over 10 years was actually under Secretary Vilsack infused in a massive amount as the staffing up happened. And you can see it was absolutely unsustainable. We don't and can't keep up the money. To answer your question, though, to be fair, on the FSA side and the specific offices, we are going office by office. So if your farmers are in a position where you've got a comms person, but you don't have anyone that's interacting with those farmers, would you please let us know and let us work to solve for that? I think that as we move forward, the intentionality of what we are doing becomes more hyper-focused on those priority areas, as I mentioned at the beginning of the hearing, and that's important.
It does feel to a lot of us like it is not addressing this balance of work boots to clipboards, of spreadsheets to work boots.
Well, that's why we need your partnership.
And, people say, well, I don't know why these loggers can't trust the science. Well, because in living memory, we were told to, bring a bulldozer to the stream beds, take all the woody debris out, and now they're helicoptering in root wads when we don't have air conditioning in our schools, when we haven't had SRS reauthorized.
Yeah.
They're firing all the para-educators. They're still tweeting, like...
Well, no one's been fired, but I hear you. And these are the sort of stories that we need to hear, and that would be really, really helpful. And I know we've worked on timber a lot, which hopefully your smaller timber guys can feel some positivity from that, but would love to continue that conversation.
We have fought hard, and one of the most haunting memories I have from being, I used to run an auto repair shop. This is new to me. And the most haunting memory was I was a farmer. He's like, a grown man, like crying, starting to cry.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I can get this farm to the 5th generation. And like the suicide rate, like I think there's a lot of useless metrics. And I think one metric I would really ask you to focus on is the suicide rate
Mental
going down.
health. Mm-hmm.
It's 3.5 times higher than any other population. What the fuck are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Other than veterans, you're right. Our veterans and our farmers.
It's profound, and I think what I hear is that why is it so difficult for me to just sell food to the school? My smaller schools, they can't go through the regulatory burden of getting in those programs. What my farmers want is guaranteed market access. They want to be able to know that they can grow real food and bring it to our schools. And a lot of these programs, we're starting to crack that door open. And as you're rebuilding, like the bigger question has to be, like, can people just do the thing that's right? Are we empowering our farmers to stand up to the consolidation, to stand up to the foreign land ownership, and just be able to sell food to their schools?
I agree. I agree with that. Really quickly, though, on the local food, because I think it's important that when that money was pulled back, your state of Washington has $7 million of $11 million left in that fund. And so part of the reason that was really became a conversation piece and a part of the decision-making is because many of the states, not Maine, but many of the states had so much money left, they couldn't spend it quickly enough. And so while we're looking at the $405 million a day we're spending in nutrition just from USDA, there's got to be a better way to balance the taxpayer interest with the interest that you just outlined. So I look forward to working on that. Hopefully expanding the markets worldwide will help, but understanding with your local farmers these programs and continuing to build those partnerships with local and state help is really important. Thank you.